blood flowing through our veins. Sitting in the bleachers in the rain. We've shed a million tears and drank as many old-style beers out at the game. Let's go, Cubby, Son Ranto.
Michael Cotton.
Son Ranto.
Michael Cotton.
Son Ranto and the lovable Lucy.
Lucho Scali.
Ranto.
Michael.
Son Ranto.
Cotton.
Son Ranto and the lovable Lucy.
Michael Cotton.
Son Ranto.
Lucho Scali.
You're not gonna say Son Ranto? You just gotta leave
I'm
it.
trying. We were kicking it back and forth. It was bad. Son Ranto. It's definitely the off season, and all of my shit's fucked up.
Yeah, we're off to a rousing good start. Hey, welcome to the Son Ranto Show. My name's Danny Rocket. The person you heard really just ruining the top of the show was Michael
Ruining
Cotton. And IFG is here, but in a car.
Hi, I'm in a car today.
Are you in England? Because you're on the other side of the car than Americans sit in when they're driving.
No, I'm just in the passenger seat so I could have my laptop up on the dashboard. I'm an expert at this.
Very nice. Welcome to the Son Ranto Show. Our first, well, I guess it's our second technical off-season show, but hashtag chance in the chat, and you can win a Frank Chance postcard sent to you by me with a message of love and doom. Actually, it'll just be love now. The doom is over. The Cub season is over. There's nothing to be doomed about, except for world events.
You could put like Go Bears in there or something, and that would be doom.
Yeah,
even though they did actually win one this week.
Yeah, I'll just write "Da Bears" and send it to the
right. That's your doom.
So what is everybody drinking? I got my mate, so
yeah,
I'd have that every week. Ivy Envy mug though. Look at that.
Very nice.
I'm in a card. I'm not trying to get arrested, so it's Mountain Dew for me.
I was just gonna say, do not have alcohol in the car, even when you're not driving it. You get pulled over by sitting there.
But you can't do that?
No.
You can't drink while you're driving?
You're not in, at least in my state, as far as I know, you're not allowed to drink anywhere like near a car while you're in possession of the keys. Like
well, in Chicago, you can do what you want. I'm pretty sure.
I got arrested one time because I was not driving. Because I knew I was too drunk, but I was not driving. And the police pulled up to see, hey, how's it going? What's going on? And I was just like, oh, God. And went to jail.
A buddy of mine, same thing happened, except this time it was the middle of he lived upstairs and he had been drinking and he went up to bed and he had set his alarm to turn his car on because he had to drive it the next day and it was super cold. And he said, I better go down, start my car. So he went downstairs. He was sitting in the passenger side of his own car and just waiting in his, what are you doing in here? I'm just warming up my car. I've got to drive to Virginia in the morning. And they're like, so smell alcohol in your breath. He's like, I'm not driving anywhere. I was home. I fell asleep and now I'm coming down. He got arrested, thrown in jail, missed everything. Oh, man, they do not mess around. By the way, I was just totally kidding that I know you can't have open container in a car. Terry E. says you can't have an open container unless you manage the Cardinals, in which case you're simply a Hall of Famer type baseball person.
Yeah, exactly.
So
you can also sleep at red light.
I believe the workaround is if you're ever drunk and you need to sleep in your car, you need to give somebody else your keys. Because if you don't have the keys on you, then you can't be in operation of the vehicle. And then you're like a passenger. But if you have the keys, then you're in trouble.
Well, I am not driving anywhere tonight. And to pinch off this segment, I'll tell everybody about my Breckenridge Brewery Autumn Ale.
Let's go.
We had this for the first time out in Colorado they had a big concert at their brewery, and I will say it's pretty good, but it's way better at the brewery. Like it's always a bummer when you get something at a brewery or whatever, it tastes so amazing. And then when you find it in the store, you're like, yeah, this is it. And you taste it, you're like, yeah,
Yeah, this has been warm 6 different times.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
exactly. So I had a great time last week with the show that we did. Everybody was on that show, and I felt like we didn't really get to say kind of what we thought about the season.
It's
And
probably good that we
well,
got like an extra week before we said anything.
Well, I've had a week to digest it. To be honest, I haven't been paying attention to the playoffs at all. Like just kind of checking the scores, watching a little bit here and there, some highlights. But for the most part, I'm not doing anything. And it's kind of nice. Like I've been enjoying like doing other things this week. And the Cubs, they would have gotten there. I mean, I think that the Brewers, they should have let us win that last weekend because if they did, they would have gotten us in the playoffs and then they would have kicked the living crap out of us. But que sera. But the Brewers out of the playoffs. Eric Wheelo might be by later to talk to us about that. Probably yell at us for jinxing his team by not believing it. And to be honest, I feel bad. Like it would have been nice to have, Eric on the show a bunch and keep trying to get the Brewers to lose. Like, but they would keep winning. But instead, they just apparently the Central wasn't good this year.
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk it?
So, and also I've been really busy this week, and I know we all have. It's just that kind of week, but so nothing says it's been a busy week for a live podcast like a listener question show because it means you don't have to do any preparation at all. All you got to do is ask people for questions and they send them in and then we just kind of answer them. But the other thing we didn't get to do last week was the bitch clock. None of us got to spin the bitch clock. We only let the guests do it. So I figure I got the 30-second bitch clock ready to go. And I figure we could do a couple different topics each.
Well, okay, let's go through these topics because actually, and here's what I think. If you are doing multiple topics, once the topic's done, we need to pull it. Yeah, because a few times during that show, it was fun. Everybody was doing their thing, but a couple of times people got the exact same one.
Well, but I'm fine with it if it's North Shore adult diapers. Like that one can stay. If North Shore adult diapers gets gotten, I say that one stays. But yeah, let's go through some of these because we didn't hear every single one of them last week. There's Marquee Network, and I added a couple today. Marquee Network, Ricketts is cheap. The bullpen is terrible. We did that one. Boog, I put that in with hoping you'd get it, Michael.
Oh.
Not playing the kids. David Ross. Run differential, September's collapse, Barnhart, Mancini, and Hosmer, roster construction, batting order, losing the DH, North Shore adult diapers, too much analytics, the DH pitch clock, Cubs Twitter, and I added this one today, and those in the know, shelter dogs. I don't know. Michael, you might not know.
No, I'm aware.
I canceled myself this week. I found out is I think I do this at the beginning of every offseason. I just say something stupid online to get my ass canceled because I'm in a bad mood because the Cubs lost.
What did you do, Danny?
Well, it had to do with that whole Barstool thing about Taylor Swift when Big Cat was a sexist pig.
Yeah.
And so I compared Barstool Big Cat to a loser shelter dog because he gives away. I try to be clever because on the broadcast of the radio he sells this coffee and he's like, I give all the money to Paws, and it's just like a portion of whatever. It's bullshit,
right?
And I hate Big Cat, so I just don't trust anything about it. So anyway, I said, of course he wants to give money to loser shelter dogs like himself because he's a dog, and like I said something stupid, but I got freaking killed for it online because I realized something that you guys probably already knew is that people will stand up for dogs more than they'll stand up for women. And I found that out real quick.
But see, what I thought was amazing and stupid about that is you weren't actually going after shelter dogs. Like people are just looking for something. They're looking for anything. And I I don't know. It was insane that people got mad at you about the shelter dogs.
It's not insane. I should have expected it because, don't make anybody make any leaps in their brains or expect that people are going to get. It was a dumb joke. I never should have told it. And I spent the day losing Twitter followers, basically. So I'm going to click this thing. I'm going to spin it. I'm going to take a spin of the Cubs pitch clock. I'll go first. I'll start it out. Okay. I am going to get Cubs Twitter.
Twitter.
Okay. Oh my God. That's what I just said. Yeah, exactly. So, all right, here we go. I think I'll play the 30-second one.
Clock, you have 30 seconds to bitch.
All right. I love Cubs. I love Cubs Twitter. Cubs Twitter's watching right now. They are the reason I do this show. They're the reason that the Ranto show had any success at all is because of making lots of friends at Twitter and hanging out. The problem with it is that it's everybody too. It's not just the cool people. It's all the freaking morons who cannot understand simple logic or jokes or everything is taken at face value and all they want to do is fight.
Stop your bitching.
All I want to do is fight too.
Yeah, you wanted to fight me that day.
I know. I was running hot. I was like, "What do you do, Cotton? You don't like Facebook, do you?" Yeah, we're yelling online. I'm like,
I was like, "Woo, somebody's pissed."
So, anybody want to take a swing at the bitch clock? Anybody up for it, or should we wait for later?
No, I mean, I can take one. IFG, do you want to do one right now, or?
Yeah, I can take one.
Let's each take one now. Then we'll each take one in the second segment. So who's this one for?
I'll try.
Okay.
I get so nervous on these because I can rant with the best of them, but man, I usually get into it naturally.
Okay, it looks like you got not playing the kids. Are you ready, Michael?
I am ready.
All right, I got to put you into the seat of doom. And here we go. Can you hear that? Oh, no, you can't. Hold on. I got to turn it around.
Oh, I have to stop bitching already.
All right, here we go.
Bitch clock, you have 30 seconds to bitch.
Good Lord, Cubs front office. We have been bitching for the last 2 seasons. Not just last season, 2 seasons, that all we want to see, if this team's going to suck, let's see kids suck instead of the fucking random Trey Mancinis of the world and Eric Hosmers and throwing them out there. It's a mess. And every year you're like, oh, we've got this great system. We've got this great farm system, blah, 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 blah. But we never see them. When they do come up, they get a grand slam.
Stop your bitching.
It's stupid.
See, you have nothing to be nervous about. You did great.
Well done.
I totally agree, though. It's like you see teams and maybe the Arizona Diamondbacks are a little bit ahead of us when it comes to this stuff, or you see what happened to the Reds overperforming. But I really will go to my grave feeling like this season could have gone different if we played the kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the whole Trey Mancini, all you have to do is look at Trey Mancini and Eric Hosmer. They went out and they got these. And look, I was a Mancini guy. When they got him, I was like, good. I'm glad they got Trey Mancini. I've heard good things and he should be okay. It did not work out that way. But what I didn't realize was they had both Matt Mervis and Jared Young that could come up and play at the major league level. Now, were either one of them really good? No, not really. But guess what? We don't
Neither was Trey Mancini.
Yeah, neither were those guys. And we don't owe either one of them $7 million next year. Or what, $14 million deal. So that just hamstrings the team even more. And honestly, I would have been way, more lenient with how they played if they were those two guys, coming up and getting their shot and trying to work through some things. We might have by June, if they were that bad the whole time, we might have been like, no, put Bellinger there. But that's what we did anyway. So why did they go and fucking waste $14 million and $14,750,000
on these guys?
So that next year they can tell us that's the reason why they don't go after any big free agents in the
Yeah.
offseason.
Well, from what I'm hearing,
but they also don't ever play their farm system, and it drives me insane because now we are heading into another offseason, and we don't know if these guys are any good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is certainly going to make it hard to trade with them because nobody else knows if they're any good either.
Well, maybe it makes it easier because they haven't sucked at the major league level yet, which they are going to next year. Like, we don't know, but they don't know either. It's all still just a prospect. It's a prospect of somebody good. But all right, let's
Terry E says, we played the guys who got us there, and what did it get us? Home in October.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got there all right. Okay, batting order. The batting order. That's a pretty good one.
Okay.
All right, so
Not
this
my
one.
favorite, but I'll take it.
Well, we'll have other chances. We'll do it 30. And
Yep.
I saw in the chat that Bernie wants us to do the 60. We'll do the 60 in the next segment. How about that? So here we go. Why won't it play? Okay, here we go.
Bitch clock, you have 30 seconds to bitch.
We have a real issue with Ross GPT, as we like to call him, riding these guys no matter like what's going on. Like, he'll pick two people, and it doesn't matter how off they are, how cold they are, they're going to take up that 4 spot for forever. It's wasting RBI
10
opportunities.
seconds.
We are wasting the capacity to actually score runs and win games. And now, where are we? October, we're all sitting at home on our couch trying to ignore the coach.
Stop your bitching.
Amen. Yeah, well, you're not sitting on your couch. You're sitting in the passenger seat of a car. But
Absolutely agree 100%. The only other thing I would add is with the batting order, and I don't know, maybe it doesn't count as batting order, but the flip-flopping of righties and lefties versus righties and lefties, nothing
absolutely.
drove me more insane. Look, I get that there's a 51 versus 49 split there or something, but it didn't seem to work for the Cubs.
so let's take a listener question here. This is the Phone It In listener question show. So Blake,
And if you're watching,
oh yeah,
put your questions in the chat and maybe we'll read those out too.
Yeah, if we see a good one, we might grab it.
So Blake, he actually wrote a bunch of them on the Discord where we'll be hanging out after the show with a conversation for you if you're a Patreon member. So join at patreon.com/Ranto. But Blake Beard said, let's just go down. We'll just take them one by one. The first one was, will the Cubs finally offer a contract over $200 million? IFG, what do you think?
Literally in my dreams.
I mean, that would be probably, it could be Bellinger if they go the years, because that would be maybe if they went over 6 years, it might be over 200.
Well, I mean, I would count 200, and I could.
Ohtani.
I really don't see the Cubs signing anybody for more than 200 million. I think that they offer somebody maybe around 200 million, but I don't know that it gets done. So IFG, who do you think they're going to go for? I mean, obviously I know you want Ohtani. We all want Ohtani. We all know that's going to take over 200 million, but
Yes.
who do you think the Cubs are realistically going to go for?
They're going to scrape the bottom of a barrel and find whoever nobody else wants because that's their MO right now. They're going to
200 million, but it's going to be 8 guys.
They're going to spend intelligently and buy like 3 more Eric Hosmers and 2 more Trey Mancinis and drive us all crazy for the next
And
season.
a partridge in a pear tree.
All right,
Happy
Danny,
Christmas, everybody.
who's your $200 million guy?
No, I don't think they do it. I kind of agree with IFG. I think that Jed Hoyer has come out and said that he loves those short deals. He loves the one. He might go high AAV to avoid the long-term 200 million because he likes that flexibility to be able to, I think I could see him spending like, 80 million on a 2-year deal for somebody that he really wanted versus, give up, the flexibility of a long-term deal where you just got like 30 million bucks, like sitting on there if it were to go south. And,
what drives me crazy about that is that it's just terrible fan service. Like, do you want to go and spend $300 on fanatics.com to buy a jersey of somebody who's going to be gone in a year?
Yeah. No, you don't.
I didn't bother buying a Cody Bellinger jersey because I knew he wasn't going to be back next year. Like if he shows up and he does well, then somebody is going to pay him a shitload of money because he plays 2 positions and does both of them well, and his bat is good, and he is going to be worth more than the pocket change Jed's going to throw at him. And so why have a Cubs Cody Bellinger jersey that was good for 6 months?
Yeah. And this is why I have been banging this drum for a while now. The Cubs aren't going to actually get better. They are not actually going to have a sustainable run, not even like the one from 2015 to 2018. That is not ever going to happen again as long as Jed Hoyer's here, because he will not put together a team that can stay together.
I'll push back on that, because I think if you did have some prospects, this top 5 farm system, and there definitely is some talent in there. They've got in Cade Horton, he's going to be up here eventually. Like some of these pitchers, somebody could come up and they could have a window of opportunity with these young guys. Like we want to see where they overperform and win the division and go really far in the playoffs. And who knows what happens at that point. But I can see them being better, but it would have to take something like that. It would have to be an inexpensive thing that they could then say, okay, these dudes are working out. We're going to add to it. We're going to go over the threshold. We'll spend in this window. We'll do a couple of short.
But I don't think that gets to be a sustainable team.
It's not. He doesn't want it to be sustainable.
And that's what I was trying to say. I'm like, can the Cubs get there? Sure. Can we get a 1 or 2 year window at some point that we might be able to win a World Series? Sure. What I was saying is that 2015 to 2018, that was
a long stretch. Yeah.
A long stretch of actually having teams every year that had a legitimate shot to win.
And just from a fandom side, having the guys on your team that you know and love and you want to show up and root for.
Yeah, exactly. And that's with Hoyer there. That is a thing of the past. He will not do that because I totally agree with Danny. I think he's into the high AAV with just a couple years.
Well,
so
unfortunately, he's not even into that right now.
Right. Because he truly does not believe in the continuity of players or the locker room or any of that working together. He thinks that these guys are numbers. That is how it feels to me. He thinks that if he puts the right numbers together, then they will have a chance to.
Well, let's take another question.
Yeah, let's move. He had like 8 questions, and we just went way too long.
We'll do a different one for Blake next time. But this one kind of follows up on what that one was. I'm not sure who this really is, but it's Wrigley N8 on Twitter. It says, they wrote a bunch of questions too. It says, I got another question in Patrick Mooney's article this week. He said that the most important players on the team have David Ross's back. What exactly does that mean? Who are the most important players? And do the other non-important players not have his back?
The second part of this is the best part. And I absolutely love Wrigley. I think it's Wrigley Nate for for bringing that part of it in, because sure, the quote unquote important players, the guys who are, you would assume are your leaders. You're going to say Dansby Swanson seems to be a leader in there. Nico Horner, Ian Happ, these guys have David Ross's back. But that's like 5 guys, right? And if nobody else has his back, if everybody else is like, you keep fucking me, dude. Like I hit a grand slam yesterday and now I'm sitting on the bench for 3 days.
Yeah.
You can kiss my ass. I hate you. So yeah, what does that do to a team? That's a great question. And yeah, I don't think the quote unquote unimportant players really have his back, but because they're unimportant, nobody's ever gonna
nobody cares. Yeah.
What do you think, IFG? You got some thoughts on this?
I don't think it matters. It's
interesting.
I mean it does. I don't think it matters, like, as far as us knowing what everybody thinks of David Ross. Jed Hoyer has already predetermined that David Ross is going to be the guy. He's going to be the guy because he's going to be the guy, regardless of how bad he is at his job. Because his job is not to be a good manager; it's to do what Jed Hoyer wants him to do. And
which is why he's replaced him with Ross GPT.
Exactly. and we've replaced our non-important players with even less important players.
I have so many feelings about how players on this team are being treated now, and I don't like any of those feelings.
It seems to me that like when you look at a situation, like somebody said in the chat, Bernie says Madrigal, and I don't know what she means by Madrigal, but I
probably thought Madrigal being one of the important players.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I took it as.
Unfathomable, because he can't, as I said last week, he can't look at a baseball field 2 weeks in a row without pulling a hamstring.
He's like one of us watching baseball on TV, and he stands up to go grab a beer. It's like, oh shit, well, I'm down.
And I do think that the important players do have his back, but why wouldn't they? They're just doing what they wanted to. Like, Dansby, you want to play every day? Go ahead.
Here's my question: is Christopher Morel an important player? He was one of the top hitters on the team this year.
Absolutely, and
does
he was
he have David Ross's back? Or is it?
Morel, the thing is, once he started being in there every day, he was in there every day as DH. They didn't want to teach him third base because, Nick Madrigal is way too important. But, as far as like having the back, I think that very much these were the travel ball boys, and David Ross fit right into that system of things. And IFG, you hit the nail on the head, is that this is a system down thing. This is like a corporation that, has middle managers and, that each department is kind of talking to each other. And I don't think it's very personal what each player, it's not personal with Ross and Morel.
It doesn't matter if the, if the cashiers at the supermarket have their managers back if the manager above them doesn't like them. Like, there's not a thing going on where like Jed Hoyer's going to come down on David Ross. Oh my goodness, I hope the players are there to advocate for him. Like, that's not what's happening here. It's kind of a nonsensical question.
Yeah. Well, it's
like the players are going to do what they're told because they've been raised to do what they were told. Like, it doesn't really ultimately matter who the manager is, because the players are going to do what they're told.
Right. But
now, who is telling the manager what to tell the players to do?
Yeah. I guess I don't think it's as nonsensical, just because that is sort of the way that the media keeps portraying David Ross, right? Because they see everybody out on Twitter or whatever social media you're on saying fire Ross, fire Ross, fire Ross. And then there's people fighting back against that and stuff. And so their response is, well, if he should be fired, let's go ask the players. And they keep asking the important players, right? The highest profile players, whether they like him, and they keep saying yes. So the media keeps sort of building this narrative that Ross does have the support of the players. And if that's true, great.
I think he does.
But
I mean,
but I think that's why I said I think the second part of that question was the more interesting part, because nobody's asking those people. And even if they did, I don't know that they would feel comfortable saying anything against it. Like IFG is saying, they're there to do what he's saying.
Exactly. And it feels like Patrick Mooney, who is not one of my favorite people on earth, is there trying to push another anti-player narrative. Like, let's pit the players against each other so that you have your group of important players who are the ones who are really in charge of things. And if those damn kids won't step in line, then they're the ones who are the problem.
Yeah, oh, that's a good take. I like that.
There's one thing. I said a lot of bullshit about the freaking 2023 Cubs, which were an annoying team to watch. But there's one thing I'd never said, which was, I think Ross has lost the clubhouse or anything. Like, you could look at like the San Diego Padres and what was happening over there and be like, this clubhouse got lost. This is they do not have the managers back. Like, this is not going well out here. But yeah, I never felt like, I mean, the Cubs were boring in that way. They were very much a corporate Dunder Mifflin sort of baseball team.
There were no vibes. I will tell you that for sure.
People that said there were, I just scratched my head. Like, this team is such fun to watch. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, they're so boring.
Okay. Now, you know what? I'll push back on that a little bit in that I do believe that the players on this team did start to vibe a little bit. And I think, and I think I've said a few times, I think that they sort of overachieved compared to the way that they were being managed, right? Like, you know, on the edges where we're losing these games, a lot of that stuff came down to Mancini and Hosmer and Torrens and all these guys, like just the things that the players didn't have any control over hurt them. They were playing a little bit behind because of that. But I think the players in general kept it together and did sort of vibe a little bit, especially right after they were told, oh, you guys aren't going anywhere. Right. Yeah. That was kind of their best stretch. And maybe it's because they were sort of together, but then sort of right along with Danny, I never attributed that to Ross.
Yeah.
Like that never got in my head. Like, oh, well, they're doing it for Ross. I think they're doing it for themselves.
Yeah.
You know, like they vibe.
It happened to vibe. It was a brand new team. These guys hadn't played together. And next year it'll be the same thing. Maybe a few of these guys will be back and a lot of the younger dudes will be. But yeah, your belly's going to be gone. He's going to be the main one that's gone. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. Why don't we take a quick break and we'll come back. We'll be back in just a minute. There's a commercial for Patreon. This show happens because of our Patreon subscribers, patreon.com/sunranto. And there's all sorts of perks at every single level that you can join at, including hanging out with us after the show in our Discord. It's only for Patreon people. It's only $1. So patreon.com/sunranto. We'll be right back. All over Chicagoland, there are thirsty, frazzled, overworked Cubs podcasters who are struggling to survive one more baseball season in the dog-eat-dog world of unpaid content creation. But it doesn't have to be this way. You can make a difference. Become a super ranter at patreon.com/sunranto, where your support ensures that poor, sad, pathetic, ugly, loser Cubs podcasters can pay for tickets and beer, and in turn line the pockets of the baseball oligarch Ricketts family. Just $1 a month can buy a scorecard. $5 a month can pay for guitar strings to write a Cubs song. And $10 a month almost buys one beer at Wrigley Field. Cubs content creators are the lowest pieces of pond scum garbage that slither over the face of this planet. But super ranters help them get drunk and screw off at baseball games. What do you get out of it? The Ranto Show delivered to your podcatcher without stupid advertisements like the one you're seeing and hearing right now. Plus, at other Super Ranter levels, you can get Cubs music, access to private Ranto pages, the Ranter calendar, and special thanks and Ranter recognition in our live broadcasts. Plus, eligibility for monthly prizes. What does Ranto get out of it? Your money. For tickets and beer. Go to patreon.com/Sunranto. That's patreon.com/Sunranto. And become a Super Ranter today. Welcome back to the Ranto Show. Hashtag chance in the chat, and you can win a Frank Chance postcard sent to you by me with a message of love and doom. And also the fabulous Chance Prize at the end of the year, which is a bag full of goodies, including baseball cards and pins and just like a lot of cool stuff. And the Patreon prize of the month is a shirt like this from In the Clutch Shirts. You see, I'm wearing my Morel shirt tonight. I love this thing, the Kiss Morel, the Destroyer. So,
yeah, that's a good looking shirt.
But they've got all sorts of shirts. They've got vintage teams like the Dodgers. They've got Negro League Baseball. They got the Savannah Bananas. They've got just all sorts of great stuff. So we do a little thing on the show. We're going to get to more listener questions. But first, we're going to do what are we doing? We're doing rakes and flakes. But
yes. So as soon as the Cubs finished up their season at Wrigley, I did a rakes and flakes, throws and blows for the home games, the games at Wrigley. So it makes sense that now that we're beyond that, let's do the away games and see who was good in this, on the road. And so for the first one, and I'm going to ask you guys.
I got to play the drop.
Okay. But
today I'm going to show you how to rake.
I had to play the drop. I need to see the old man with the rake, dude. Like,
you got to see the old man.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so what I wanted to do is I'm going to ask you guys, kind of as I did with the home ones, a few questions to see if you can kind of figure out who they are. But we're only going to do it for the rakes. After that, it just doesn't matter.
And guess in the chat too, so I can get the answer.
So, okay. Ian Happ played in the most games on the road this season with 79 games on the road, and 10 total players qualified for this, playing more than half the road games. And that was the lowest number of games any of these players played was 47. Okay. Just so you can kind of figure out in your mind just who they might be versus, it's not Jared Young. Right. So, all right. So a couple of quick questions for the first one. Who on this team had the most home runs on the road? And I will tell you the difference between number 1 and number 4 is it's only 2 home runs.
Yeah.
Just like last time.
Because we had a bunch of dudes just kind of all bunched up.
Yeah.
With like 27, 26, I don't know. You want to guess first?
Patrick Wisdom.
Oh, she's going with Patrick Wisdom.
That's
what do you got,
most road home runs. I'm gonna go Belly.
Okay. So Bellinger hit the most at Wrigley, and Patrick Wisdom missed the top 4 by 1. He had 10. Ian Happ had 11 along with Seiya Suzuki. Cody Bellinger had 12. Christopher Morel hit 13 home runs.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Monty Johnson was correct in the chat, and I was correct to wear my Morel shirt tonight. Destroyer.
Yeah. Most home runs right there. And if I remember right, Morel was second in home runs at Wrigley. So he and Bellinger flip-flop spots on the road.
Love that for him.
So the highest batting average for qualified players was 300 even. So who was it? Who hit 300 even
On the road.
on the road.
Huh. I guess I'll start this one. I'm going to say it was also Cody Bellinger.
Okay, yeah, he did have that's a good guess because he had the highest average. He was the only guy over 300
yeah.
on the team. Yeah.
But away from Wrigley, what was the, let's see, highest batting average among qualified players? How much of a trick question is this? Like, I feel like Saya's not a terrible answer.
We
This
got
is
some Nico's in here. Terry says Nico. Mr. Fourth Row Artie says Saya. Bernie says
this is a very straightforward question. I will tell you that nothing surprising is going to come out of this.
Get some Nico's in there.
Except for maybe with your the only way it would be surprising is your perception. So
fair.
Do 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 do
I'm
do do.
gonna go Nico. Let's go Nico.
Okay, you had it right the first time. You should have stuck.
I knew it. I should go with my gut. Good job, Saya.
Yep. Saya Suzuki hit 300 on the road, which means and I mean he hit really well this year, but
yeah, he did.
But that means that, you know, a lot of the perception of Saya was kind of the home cooking because early in the year he was not great at Wrigley, and in front of the home crowd it makes it worse, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so he had 300. All right. Ian Happ had the most walks with 52 in opposing parks. But who had the most strikeouts?
Ian Happ. Yeah, that's probably who it is.
Well, Danny, I will tell you, Ian Happ is not correct, but he was second with 69 strikeouts.
Nice.
Number one, Seiya Suzuki.
Oh,
72 strikeouts for Seiya.
Crazy. So
72 strikeouts and still over 300 in batting average. What a guy.
Yep.
He is a man with a man of I don't know.
Yeah, well, but I think that 72 strikeouts contributed to, I mean, for easily 2/3 of this season, people were down on Seiya. Everybody was bad. And I don't think he was ever really as bad as people, you know, were saying, but he definitely turned it around and got much, much better in September. So he finished strong and it looked good. And I am actually going to give the road game breaker to Seiya Suzuki because check this out. His 892 OPS on the road, 892 on the road. That was the highest on the team, even though he struck out the most. But he had the second most walks. So Ian Happ had the most walks. He had the second most walks. And he was tied for the most hits with Bellinger at 83. And then, of course, he was tied he had 11 home runs, right? Bellinger came in second at an 860 OPS. And then Morel, 859 was third. 859 for the kid who just didn't get a lot, like wasn't good enough to start with this team, who doesn't have a position, like just kind of, I don't know. I think it's funny. There's still a narrative out there that Morel is super streaky and he's not very good and he strikes out a lot. He does all these things. He's a much more of a high end player than people really give him. If
he had not gotten hurt at the beginning of the year, I think you're seeing a different situation. Remember when he came in all swollen up and it looked like the Incredible Hulk. He was like, oh, he had no neck, and then he was too big, and then it took him a little bit of time, and then he was pressing, and then they benched him for a little bit, and then hopefully this who we get next year. He just comes out, wins the MVP, and then then Belly who at that point, Bellinger who.
I honestly, I think Bellinger is the best player on this team. I think that, you know what, Dansby is the best defender, but I think Morel is the best. Like, I think he's the actual star. He's the guy.
He's the
I
vibes
think,
guy.
yeah, that people are going to get behind and be super excited whenever he does anything. But it was Seiya who pulled it all together and actually had quite an amazing season.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the Lakers. We're done with the quiz portion of this. We're just going to roll through the next ones.
Okay, cool. So we need to play the Flakes drop, of course.
I haven't worried about flakes since my grunge days. Remember them?
Nope. I do not remember my grunge days that well.
I'm in Seattle. They're all grunge days.
That's a great question. Is it still grungy out there?
I mean,
I lived out there in the 90s, so it was grungy when I was there.
There's still a lot of flannel and heroin, so
Yeah.
You buy a flannel at a Goodwill and it's just got some heroin in the pocket from whoever had it first.
there's a non-zero chance.
Probably you could get like a fentanyl overdose just trying on shoes there. It's amazing.
Yeah. Okay. So the flaker for this team, Nick Madrigal. Look,
Of course.
we're done with this. Nick Madrigal was a fucking fine baseball player and he got so much better and he did all these great things. Madrigal did some things. I'm not going to say he didn't, but and he did get a lot better at third. But Nick Madrigal did not have a season. He did not put a season together. It wasn't that good. And he was the worst hitter on the road. He had a 271 batting average, which, well, that's good, right? But he was 8th out of the 10 qualifiers in on-base percentage. So he was getting the 271, but he wasn't doing anything else.
All singles.
Right? Yeah, and
All
he was
singles, not walking.
He was dead last of the 10 qualifiers in slugging.
Yeah.
And he was dead last in OPS at 665.
Well, that's the problem with Nick Madrigal. He's never going to give you that. And he plays a historically powerful position in third base. And that's what's frustrating about having him there.
Yeah. I mean, he's a slap hitter, which is great. You know, there's a spot for that guy on your team.
Yeah,
but he also
bench. It's called the bench coming in.
He doesn't take a ton of walks, which is the other part of that he needs to do. So all those other times that he's making contact, because he makes a lot of contact, they're just weak hits for outs. You know,
let's just remember he can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
He has never played a full season of baseball.
His hamstring literally looks like ham. I don't know what that means, but
I don't know. But if you say his name one more time, my own leg is going to cramp up.
I will say too, though. Look, even though he was the worst, Nico, Dansby, and Talkman, they were all below 700 OPS on the road. Like they just were not that great on the road. And
that last week alone.
Yeah, that last week alone was probably what put Nico under, because he had the highest. He was at like 691 or something. But Dansby was at like 670 and Talkman was at 650. So, or no, 667 or something like that. But yeah, they just didn't do that great on the road. And those guys got a lot of at-bats on the road.
So I like our old thrower because I hate our new one. So I'm just getting, remember the one that goes, throw it up, motherfucker, throw it up.
Yeah.
Throw it up, motherfucker, throw it up. So I can't find what that is, but I'll just sing it because I don't.
But you just did it, so we're ready.
So it's fine. So we're ready.
All right. So the thrower for road games was a bit of a dark horse. Did not actually see this coming. It was Kyle Hendricks.
Hendo!
Kyle Hendricks had the best numbers outside of Wrigley Field. He led the starters in ERA, and he was third in average against. And he had the best whip. Like, he was actually really, really good in on the road. I think a lot of it just has to do with the fact that he wasn't there for the first part of the season, but he ended with 11 starts on the road. Justin Steele had 12, so it's not, and 14 was the most of anybody on the road. So it's not like he had like 4 starts, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
he had a comparable number. And yeah, I was just really surprised to go into the numbers a little bit and see how well Hendo actually was on the road for this team this year. So
pleasantly surprised.
Yes, absolutely. Because I do like Hendricks. And then out of the bullpen, a guy who struggled a bit right off the bat, but then of course, right towards the end, he got a little bit worn down. Julian Merriweather. He had 33.1 innings pitched on the road, which is the most.
Yeah. They rode him like a rented mule.
Yeah. The only bullpen guys that had more than him were guys who also had starts. So they did, they split the season between starts and bullpen. But despite the most innings, he had a 1.35 ERA on the road. Wow. That's a full run and a half below the next best guy, who was, by the way, Adbert Alzolay, who had the next most innings pitched out of the bullpen.
Yeah. Hopefully he can come back healthy, man. I mean, Alzolay, I know there's some questions about him from the listener questions, but and Merriweather, you just worry about, this guy, he almost didn't make the team. Or did he even make the team? He was definitely on the bubble the whole time, but turned out to be a really good piece to get ridden like a rented mule, as you said.
Yeah, Merriweather's one of those guys that, he didn't seem to be on the radar, and then all of a sudden we saw him more than anybody.
So I will do the blows because that is a good drop.
You just put your lips together and blow.
Ooh, that made my lips tickle. God dang. Okay. You guys are all going to be so happy about this.
I already see it in the notes. I'm so excited.
Jameson Taillon. He is going to get the blower for the road due to having the highest ERA of the starters at 5.07 and giving up 14 home runs along the way. And that's, look, the only other guy who had 14 home runs was Smiley, but he also he had at least 10 bullpen innings in there as well. And we all know that he did very badly too. But but here was the interesting thing. Taillon was so bad by giving up those runs. Basically, I think he gave up 47 total runs in like 63 hits. It was bad. So many of the guys who got on base just also scored. And that was his problem with those 14 home runs.
Because it was big innings. It was just like he'd be first inning, it'd be 5-0 all of a sudden, or third inning, it's 6-0. That was his start.
But as Troutman will remind us, he was consistent.
It was consistently shitty. Yeah.
But here's the interesting thing about his stats. Even though the runs are terrible, home runs are terrible, all that's bad. On the road, he had the lowest average against and the second lowest whip for any pitchers with at least 10 starts. The only guy better than him was like Assad, but he didn't get 10 starts on the road. But that's not something you expect, right? No. You're like, oh, he gave up a bunch of hits and everyone scored. He gave up the most home runs, and yet his whip and his average against are the lowest. Like that kind of broke my head.
Yeah. That's strange. There's got to be something behind those numbers, like just a walk, a couple of walks, and a 3-run bomb.
Oh,
Or
he
no,
had the
that
most
would hit
hit
your
by
whip.
pitch as well.
Yeah. HBP.
And then for the bullpen is bad. I'm going with Brandon Hughes. He pitched in 10 games. He had a 10.5 ERA.
He was hurt.
Right, but he pitched in 10 games, and in those 10 games, he only made it 6 innings. And he had a 10.50 ERA, and he gave up 7 runs on 10 hits and 5 walks, and he only struck out 5. The only guys who had higher averages against were Anthony Kay in 2 innings and Tucker Barnhart in 1 inning.
Tucker. Tucker. I guess he pitched mostly on the at home this year. Tucker did.
Yeah. No, and look, I understand Brandon Hughes was injured and he was probably never fully there, but it's like when you're parsing through these things, you got to go with somebody. And you know what? The guy had a bad year. He feels bad. Now's the time to just pile on a little bit and then just get it all, just shove that shit out of the way, and then maybe next year he's better.
So there's your Rakes, Flakes, Throws, and Blows. Thank you very much, Michael, for corresponding on that. The next, we're going to bring in a guest real quick before we go to our next break. So he needs some theme song. Here he is, Eric Wheeler. Do you like your theme music? Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
That's exactly how the Brewers played in those 2 games.
Yeah, here's live look at the Brewers. This is their Super Bowl shuffle, basically.
It's like an ice cream truck. But that dude's definitely a pedophile, whoever's driving that one.
Yeah, literally, it's like you can't even fix your ice cream song. So, Eric, leading in both games.
Yes.
Does one of the best bullpens in the major leagues just couldn't bring it home. The Diamondbacks surging, kick the crap out of the Dodgers. You got to love to see that. But how you feeling after just that disappointing, heartbreaking, gut-wrenching, ass-pounding loss that you took?
Don't you mess around me, you're a
I mean,
don't you mess around?
I mean, you're using a lot of lofty words, but like I haven't been here before, and I haven't seen this before. I think the last 6 teams that beat the Brewers in the playoffs end up going to the World Series. So this is just common for us at this point.
So what you're saying is that you're using this as a betting strategy?
Yeah, bet on the D-backs.
The Brewers lost. Let's put 100 on them.
I immediately put my money on the D-backs after they beat the Brewers. I'm like, this is happening. They're going to the World Series without a doubt.
So who do you blame?
Who do I blame?
Yeah, who do you blame?
What was your pitcher who quit at the end of the year? He's like, I don't want to do the postseason.
Woodruff?
Woodruff. That's it.
He's going to get a shoulder surgery. I mean, even
whatever. He quit.
Yeah, he quit on the team. Yeah,
he quit on the team.
Miss half the year next year. But good news, we might get him on a team-friendly deal, a little prove-it deal. Corbin Burns, for some reason, just didn't show up this year, and we kept calling him as the ace, and he goes in and blows that game 1, and Peralta's looking good, and Counsell keeps him out there a batter too long, and I think we ran into a lot of the Cubs problems, or a lot of these arms. You know what? Fuck it. I blame the Cubs. Why did you guys suck at the end of the year?
We did.
The Brewers would have.
All you had to do was throw one game against us, and then you could have played us instead.
I know.
Well, not even one game. You just throw that entire series right?
Yeah.
You let them sweep. You get us with you don't throw out any real pitchers, and then Woodruff's arm doesn't fall off, and then he pitches game 1 against the Cubs and probably beats the crap out of them.
We didn't even try to beat you in that series at the end of the year. We went with Colin Ray and Tehran. Just nobody's pitching against you. That's why I'm blaming you. It's you could have just been good, that those games would have meant something, and then our starters would have started and our pitchers would have pitched. you know, and we had no momentum going in because the Cubs suck. So this was your fault, and I blame you. That's what I do. I'm blaming the Cubs for the
It
Brewers'
is
demise.
true. If we were still in it at the end of the year, and everybody and we were fighting for the Central,
Yep.
and up there in Miller Park, and Cub fans were up there, and it was a playoff atmosphere, but it wasn't. You know, you had like my tie guy hoping that he could maybe go down birdie slide. Like you had,
Yeah.
you know, people betting on the sausage races. Nothing was going on. There was like Cub fans had already given up. We already knew the season was over. There was like a very small chance if everybody else fucked up that we could get in. And I think you're right. I think that if there had been that charged up energy, you guys would have had a little bit more energy because you came out flat. And I don't know. I was a little disappointed because we were gonna, we were talked about it on the Ranters page that we were all gonna pitch in and get you first row seats right next to Marlins man. For
Not
the World
Marlins,
Series.
man. We were gonna sit him next to
Front row Amy?
Amy.
Oh, there we
right
go.
in between them, right in between front row Amy, Marlins man, Eminem guy. You guys
Why
would
the
have been
fuck
right
is
in there.
Eminem guy there? By the way,
He was there. What is it?
I don't-
By the way, what is it with these creepy old rich dudes that just like to sit in the first row? Like, what is that phenomenon? And somebody needs to write a book. I mean, Pink Hat guy. I mean, I know he's got his story, but it's just like,
his
weird.
story is really kind of odd too. He's like, I have to prove to my wife I'm at the game, so I wear a hat that she can see.
She doesn't think I'm cheating. It's like, well, you could just not cheat on her and go home for dinner.
You could have just had a wife who trusts you.
You could have tried that, idiot.
Build
It's
that
a whole
relationship
group
on
of people whose only skill in life is swiping a credit card. It's the only way they're going to get famous.
Yes, exactly.
And don't forget having bad style. That is
true.
Oh,
They need
all of them.
And always single. And they should treat it like a Billy Joel concert. Like he never lets the rich people sit in the front row. He goes to the upper decks. He pulls like 120 people down and he puts them in the front row so they have an actual show. Get some real fans sitting
Heck
up
yeah.
front there.
Yeah, like
I've often said, my whole like if I were commissioner thing, the first 10 rows all the way around the ballpark should be like given away by lottery to people who bought upper deck seats.
Oh yeah, and then they would always be full. There is nothing more annoying than watching a game, and this is usually not at Wrigley because people show up there. But they might be up at Miller Park and you see that nobody's there in those first like 4 rows.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's and the Brewers, I did notice that they could not draw. They were really expecting Cubs fans that last weekend up there too.
Well,
we did not show up there.
You bought all the tickets and then you released them when you didn't get in last minute, and everybody was like, "Oh boy, here we
Me
go."
and Crawley ate tickets.
$4. Yeah,
I bought
tickets.
I bought tickets for 14, sold them for 5. Like
Wow.
just took a big fat $18 loss on that one. But
It just L's all around for you this year.
Yeah,
There we go.
it's your Patreon money hard at work, everybody. Just me and Crawley taking losses on tickets. But
did you guys? Can I ask you a question? Like you saw the Phillies in that last series, and you saw them in this first game, and you just see that team and those fans, and just like fucking A, there's just an energy, and I'm like, I didn't feel that all year with these Brewers. There's just something to it where I'm like, that's what we're missing, just that spark. That magic. But then I realized those guys that have it, we're talking about like Trey Turner and guys that are making the biggest
Millions,
bucks, millions. And I'm like, is it that energy? Is it just they know they're that good because they have that much talent on that team that creates that energy?
Well, it's true. The Brewers have to play really tight baseball. Like there's not a lot of margin for error as you win a lot of 1-run games, which is great. But it also makes you tight. You're just constantly just wired really tight, and you're running hot. So
it is interesting to me because yes, the Brewers fans do complain a little bit sometimes about it being Wrigley North or whatever. But the only reason that happens is because it doesn't just fill up. Now, I will say Miller Park is not necessarily like the greatest ballpark in the world, but it's clearly not the worst.
No.
Like it's a perfectly fine place to go see a game.
Mhm.
I don't understand. I really don't understand why more people don't just show up for this team, who, by the way, have been on a fucking run. Like
Mhm.
what, 5 years now?
I think it was 6 playoff appearances in the last 8. I believe that's the
Yeah.
number.
Yeah, that's a great run.
Yeah.
And that should, I don't know. Look, the MLB is terrible with, their PR, and maybe it's just a part of that, and maybe it's a part of, like, I don't know, the Brewers just don't sell their team properly. I have no idea.
There's just not a lot of people that live in Milwaukee.
That's right. I mean, the population difference between Chicago and Milwaukee is ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah.
and we
Well,
still
that's
finish
true.
over 3 million fans a year. And in, I want to say, like the top 12 of all teams in baseball in terms of attendance. So I think we do very, very well. For the
Oh,
small market
okay.
we are.
Wait, how many seats does Miller Park have then?
Miller Park, what does it say? Let me see.
40, something 30, 35, 40.
It's got to be more than that if they have over 3 million people.
41,900.
Yeah, 40.
Oh, that's right. The same
Same
as
as-
Wrigley. Then how is nobody fucking there?
That'd be
Like, that's what I want to know. Where is everyone? Because if you had over 3 million fucking people, you should see people at the game.
Yeah.
Our population is only 569,000 people in Milwaukee. All right.
I don't care about that. The Cubs, I don't think broke they were very near 300 million.
They're down on the year.
Or 3 million. The
3 million. They were 300 million. The entire population of the United States went to the game.
So I want to bring up another question, because this
Sure.
is a listener question show. We've done 2 questions, so and we're at hour 7 in. So, but this I thought would be a good question that maybe Eric could weigh in on as well. But are the Cubs really that far behind the Diamondbacks with another starting pitcher at a better bullpen and possibly somebody else making better decisions on the bench? Could the Cubs have knocked off the Brewers and a weak Dodgers team, such as the Diamondbacks beat the Brewers? I mean, we just all watched that. Eric, you just saw the Diamondbacks beat your team. Is this a fluke? Are the Diamondbacks that good, or did they just get hot at the right time?
I think they're a good team that played in a really competitive, good division all year. I mean, it kind of did. Our division sucks.
They
Y'all
also
just
had
saw what they did to the Dodgers last
I
night,
know.
right?
they
I
also
saw
had
that team.
kids,
Yeah,
right?
They
Didn't
played the
they-
kids.
They played the kids.
Yeah.
They
Corbin-
developed good players, and they were not afraid to put them out there to see them play. Like,
Yep.
the Cubs are afraid of that.
I think
Great,
yeah, go ahead.
No, just saying a great like little piece of Diamondbacks trivia right now is that Clayton Kershaw gave up 2 home runs to left-handed hitters this year. They were both Corbin Carroll.
Yeah, now that's an exciting player that maybe you can hang your hat on. And that's kind of what I was saying before about the Cubs, is that if they were to have somebody come up and perform like Corbin Carroll is performing, then so you're like, okay, but now we have something, and then they'll add to that, and then
Hold on, did Corbin Carroll just come out and just dominate from game 1 and never have a downtime? Or here's another thing. Did Corbin Carroll ever hit a grand slam and then get benched for the next 2 weeks?
Nobody
I'm just
would have as
wondering.
a Cub. Yeah, we know he would have. Well, this is a guy that I'll read off his stats to you. He slashed. Let's see, 362 OBP, 506 slugging, 868 OPS, 134 OPS plus. It's his second year in the bigs, but only 115 plate appearances the first time. And then if you look at his splits here,
Stolen bases too, 54.
yeah, 54
Yeah.
stolen bases. So he's doing it with not only pop, he's doing it with speed. As they say at the end of Cubs games, he's got the power, he's got the speed.
You know what's interesting? I found this very interesting that they did not stop the game when he stole his 50th base.
Weird.
It's weird how teams just kind of let shit like that go and don't stop the game in the 10th inning.
So Corbin,
you about killjoys. If it was your team, you'd be like, well, yes, the game must stop. Anybody else? Killjoys, dude. Unless it's your team, you just hate to see joy.
We do. So Corbin Carroll's,
we hate to see the joy in other fans.
Haters.
Jesus, yeah.
Corbin Carroll's worst month he had at 800 OPS. So there's his slump.
Oh, okay. So I guess he actually was just awesome straight on through.
He was awesome straight on through.
But to answer the question, I think the Reds are probably closer to the Cubs in terms of adding a big arm and adding some bullpen help and a little bit better management on the bench, which I don't think they necessarily need. But I think they have a better, younger group of people that you can fill it in with something like that, where the Cubs lacking a little bit. I think
we don't even know who we have.
I know. And the Brewers do. We do have a lot of young talent. We have Jackson Churio coming up, and a lot of these young guys played this year, and now they got their first run in playoffs. They got some playing time. I don't know why Jesse Winker showed up. I have no idea. He hadn't played in 2 fucking months, and he gets 2 at bats in a playoff series, a best of 3, and he strikes out both times in a row with runners in scoring position. Like, what the fuck are we doing, Craig?
That was weird. Yeah,
that was so weird. And Roddy Tellez, he's benched. Like, there's nobody on that bench better than Jesse Winker. What the fuck are we doing? He hasn't hit all year.
Yeah, that was.
Sounds like you're blaming Counsell a little.
Well,
bit
he's not going to be back anymore, so I don't have to be, kiss his feet like I did. He's going to go watch his kids play at Notre Dame, take a couple of years off, and then probably be a Met. But yeah, lots of question marks on this team. I'd really like to see Mark Canha come back. That'd be awesome. Burns is going to get traded. I could see that. I
was going to ask you: is Burns the Brewers' version of Kershaw?
No, and I don't think he'll be anybody's.
No, I'm just saying that in the playoffs he just sucks and he gets beat.
Yeah, it's
great regular season guy,
but he was so up and down all year. Like, he'd go and he'd.
I'm trying to look at his whole career. Like,
well, I should talk him up. Good. Yeah, he's been great. I mean, he won a Cy Young. He's going to get traded, though. You have to unload him. We're not going to have the money to pay him. So let's load up on some more talent, make ourselves better down the line. But the Brewers, we need help at first base. We need help at third base. It's like, are we going to make a splash for a Pete Alonso? I don't think so. So then the good enough gang rides again. It's like, our owner owns a soccer team now, and there's all this arguments of who's going to pay for the upgrades for the stadium. They're talking about putting a district in the parking lot and take away from the tailgating experience to help fund the stadium. Like, that's where we're at right now.
Wait a second.
I said a lot right there. Sorry.
What is a district?
Well, like, they're going to make like a little area with bars, and
with bars,
and they make the money, and instead, like, basically like Gallagher Way. So,
that absolutely makes sense. I don't know why they weren't doing that to begin with.
Yeah, they're like, well, we've been letting people bring their own hot dogs.
Yeah,
you kidding me?
The Brewers are like, that's going to take away from the experience of the fans. There's so much parking lot. Just put up a fucking building and let's get this stadium upgraded.
So we're going to take another break. We'll let you go, Eric. I'm really sorry about your team. And I really am, because I wanted to have you back on a bunch of times, and then we were going to buy you that front row ticket and everything.
He does not care about you at all, Eric. He
That's fine.
Just wanted more content for this show.
You know what's crazy? And I'll say this, like, in the playoffs, you have to be able to hit home runs. And the Brewers, every other year before this year, that was our whole offense. It was boom or bust, and it plays in the playoffs. And we left so many runners in scoring position.
Yeah.
In that series.
You had a lot of opportunities.
But just didn't have that bat. That Pete Alonso trade, it's going to haunt us, man. We should have picked him up. We should have got him. Maybe that would have changed everything. But who knows?
Was there a legitimate shot for that to happen? Or
yeah, we were in the mix, and it kind of got close and never happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
alas, hey, thank you guys. This has been fun, and
we'll have you on. You've got to come on and be in the Cubs Carol competition.
I was going to say that. I'm very excited.
Brewer, you have to be a special judge. We need somebody from the outside that can really judge Cubs.
Do a Brewers song.
Yeah,
I will. I will this year. Danny told me like the day before that he was doing it last year, so I didn't get to do it. Make a song. But I remember last year I had a lot of fun. I think I drank like 12 White Claws and just talk shit. So
Yeah, and that Grandma got run over by the reindeer was definitely written by a Brewers fan. That sounds like everybody's getting drunk, Grandma dies.
Yeah.
It's not really a reindeer. It's just like your dog.
Yeah.
So
your grandpa's tractor.
Yeah. So, we'll be right back. We're going to do, we got some good, bad, and the ugly. We're going to take another listener question. We'll do some 60-second bitch clock before IFG's battery runs out.
Yes.
She's going to run out anyway, but we'll be right back. Here's a commercial for In the Clutch. Thanks, Eric.
See you guys later. Thank you for everything. Bye.
If you like the Cubs a bunch, buy your t-shirts from In the Clutch. We've got all the best styles for you. Dansby, Saya, Morel too. Clark Fly in his double U. Cody Bellinger smoking deuce. Vintage shirts from days of old. Patrick Wisdom and Nico. You'll look sharp wearing your stro. 10% off with the code SONRANTO. SONRANTO. InTheClutch.com is your store for the most fun baseball shirts on the planet. Don't forget to use promo code SUNRANTO to knock a couple bucks off your purchase. Stack or die, we need more cups. Get it all at In The Clutch. Cause if you like the Cubs a bunch, buy t-shirts from In The Clutch. Get it all at In The Clutch. Get it all at In The Clutch. Stuff. Hey, Cubs fans, at Amazon.com do you buy lots of stuff? Why not support the Sun Ranto Show by shopping through sunranto.com/stuff? All you gotta do is fill your cart at Amazon with lots of stuff. Then before you check out with all of that wonderful stuff, head on over to sunranto.com/stuff and click any of our Amazon links before you buy your stuff. Check out like you normally would with all that beautiful stuff. And the Sun Ranto Show will get a small kickback because of the stuff you bought. And you'll be helping the Sun Ranto Show buy all the stuff we need to stay on the air talking about the Cubs and other stuff. Plus you could win a monthly prize if some of your is chosen for Amazon stuff of the month. And if you win, we'll send you more stuff. Sunranto.com/stuff. That address again is sunranto.com/stuff. We are back, and I've almost forgot to say that tonight is the night that we're giving away the Amazon prize of the month because we didn't do it last week in the first show of the month. So we're going to do it tonight. So let's do it right now because I think it's a lot of fun. Let me show. I'll put up some of the items that were up. Not a lot of. Do you guys want to guess how much this show's cut of the Amazon prize, how much we took and pickpocketed out of Jeff Bezos's deep pockets? Do you want to guess how much money we got?
I'm going to go with $3.47.
Okay.
$6.69.
You both underbid, but if this was The Price is Right, IFG would have won because it was really $8, and I don't know the cents, but it was like $8.40-something, but $8. But yeah, a little light this month. What I'm trying to say is there's only 25 entries, and so if you want to take a look at some of these,
all right, we got some OtterBox stuff, water bottle,
bed sheets,
6-piece Christmas wooden snowmen cutouts.
Yeah,
somebody's decorating the house.
And there's two different. There's accidentally two different feeds for the ads. So this is now 1 through 8. So it's like 1 through 18 and then 1 through 8. So here's the other ones.
Doing some podcasting. I see some microphone grill mesh micro something.
Yeah. So we shall see who will win. Now how this works.
Wait, back that up. Show that again. 20 pieces. Microphone cover, colorful mic wins 20 pieces for my
20 microphones.
Somebody's doing a massive podcast.
So what you could win is this, which is
He's so cute.
He is a cute little water bottle. And how it works is if you bought the item that corresponds to the winning number, then you get to win that little guy. So let me just share my screen here and I will get to that page, which is the number picker wheel. So as you can see,
and remember, whoever we don't know who bought this stuff.
Yeah, you
so
got to.
If we've chosen your thing, you have to reach out to us. Otherwise, we won't know.
Yeah, Sunranto Sunranto at gmail.com. I don't even know how to say email addresses anymore. 1 through 2, and the winner is number 1. Number
Ooh.
1 is the winner. And that corresponds to the OtterBox iPhone 13 Defender Series. So whoever bought the iPhone 13 Defender Series case, you are the winner, and I will send you. Oops, I did not mean to do that. But congratulations. And thanks to all of you that shop on Amazon as well. Let's take another listener question, shall we? And we'll get into some good, bad. Oh, wait, actually, we should do good, bad, and the ugly because you're about to lose your power, are you not?
I might. So
IFG, why don't you go first with your good, bad, and the ugly? Because you've got the bobblehead edition.
that's right, because next month we want even more of you taking part in the Amazon Prize of the Month. So we are doing our good, the bad, and the ugly using our Amazon affiliate stuffs. And there is like a ton of bobbleheads available.
On Amazon. I did not know that.
I was surprised to find out when I was looking for
Amazon was
segment.
a bobblehead place. Yeah.
That's kind of cool. So for our good, we're going to start off really strong with the 2016 World Series talking bobblehead featuring Pat Hughes. It's really cool. He's sitting there at his little like announcing desk and holding his little Cubs microphone. He's got his big smile on his face and his polo shirt, and it's pretty rad. And it's for the low price of $49.99. I
not
love
bad
this
for a piece of plastic.
Now,
I love
okay.
bobblehead.
So was this a giveaway?
I don't know
At all?
anything about it.
No, it was not.
Okay, it was not. Danny.
Foco. This is Foco. Foco makes a bunch of different bobbleheads. That's their business. They make a ton of bobbleheads, and they got a lot of Cub fan customers, and so they pretty much make a shit ton of Cub fan bobbleheads stuff.
Well, one of the things that really got me going about this one is it's talking, right? And so you get to see, or you get to hear Pat Hughes whenever you want. That sounds amazing. Here, bring the picture down.
Yeah.
What you don't want is this giveaway of Boog and JD bobbleheads. This is also talking. I have never heard it, as you may be very well aware. I would not ever want to
Play
hear
it.
this.
I want to hear it.
I think there's I don't even know how to play it.
It's the talking one that's too hard for you to use.
Oh, see, it's still got the little plastic thing in here. Because if you pull that, then the battery will work and then you can make it talk. And I am not pulling that fucking thing because I'm a little worried.
So
Like, this is a goddamn mess right here. And the one that IFG just showed is beautiful. So
Look at him. I just want to see him again. Look at that. Hall of Famer, Ford Frick Award winner, Pat Hughes. It's beautiful. I want that one. In bad bobbleheads, there were so many to choose from. Just so many.
Ones.
I
Even the Pat Hughes that was basically just Anthony Rizzo repainted.
Yeah. Here we have this is a twofer here.
Oh God.
There's I don't know who decided to make these, but there are quite a few of them actually. The first one we have here is Fred Bird. in like a duke out with Clark the Pantsless Cub. And then we also have the Barrel Man from the Milwaukee Brewers versus Clark the Pantsless Cub. And Clark looks terrified of his situation in both of these. They're not great. They don't look good. I do not like them.
How is a bear smaller than a cardinal? You know what I mean? Like that's not fair. Like the cardinal's a freaking bird. It's way smaller than a bear.
Well, and any self-respecting bleacher bum would have tapped Barrel Man and be shotgunning him right now. So
exactly.
I love how both Fredbird and Barrel Guy, they look like they're fighters, whereas like Clark looks like he's surprised that this is happening.
Well, he's a boy. He's missing teeth and everything. Clark looks like he's got hippo teeth. You know how they got just 2 on the bottom and 2 on the top.
Yeah. My other option for bad, I couldn't decide what was worse between the two of these, so I had to share this other one. And this is from that Game of Thrones series of bobbleheads.
Oh no. I think I know what you're talking about. Oh God. Clark on the Game of Thrones throne.
Clark just here. He's got that confused Clark look on his face. Just spread eagle sitting on the throne.
That's what I noticed too.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us need to see this.
What's with his like knee wrinkles? You see his knee? You see what he's got going on with his knees?
Is that supposed to be fur?
It's like fur, but it's like he's got like knee. It's like knee nipples. Like he's got 3 nipples on each knee. I don't understand what's going on with that one. Just, but I mean, hey, Cub fans will buy anything. So I'd put out a bunch of crap too if I was a bobblehead maker. I'd be like, hey, these idiots will buy this with his, knee nipples and his hippo teeth.
Totally. It really is. Wait, flip that back on there. Look at his ears too. Those are hippo ears.
Yeah, hippo ears. Hippo. That's a freaking hippo.
If it's got teeth like a hippo and ears like a hippo, I think it might be a hippo.
Yeah, it's at least a rhino.
I like how you're like, it's at least a rhino because rhinos have no other distinguishing
features whatsoever. This is quite possibly the ugliest bobblehead I've ever seen.
This is a great ugly. This is the way I accidentally clicked on this.
This is a fantastic ugly. It's so ugly. It's bad. It's bleh. I don't know who this is for, but it's not for me. Here you go.
Oh
this
God.
Is
why? What?
$80. $80.
$80 for the Chicago Cubs Cactus League Bobbles on Parade bobblehead. This appears to be, I don't know, some kind of left-handed Chris Bryant. But instead the entire body is painted like the Arizona landscape. Yes, with a red Cubs logo just slapped on its face.
His face and hands are purple. The face, yeah. What's with the logo slapped on his face? That's the weirdest part. It's just like, it's just a lot going. And there's
it looks like a badly drawn villain for a comic book.
It's like you had a baseball player who like walked in front of an overhead projector that was projecting the banner of like spring training.
Exactly what it is.
Yeah. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
But if you like this sort of thing, if this is up your alley, hey man, it's $80. Just go ahead and hit that sunranto.com/shopping.
Yeah, I dropped the link to it in the chat if you must have. But it's true. Like we will buy anything. So
I was gonna say it's more expensive than the Pat Hughes one.
And look how beautiful that Pat Hughes is.
Bernie says no thanks on the colorful one, and Terry E says acid drip bobblehead. It really is. Yeah, that's like, well, it's in the desert, so it's more like a peyote thing, I think, just out there. So
There
yeah,
you
that's rough.
go. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly in
Very
Cubs
nice.
bobbleheads on Amazon.com.
Very nice. And Amazon, I forget, they're always having like a new like fake Black Friday. You ever notice?
Yeah. The next one is going to be the 10th and 11th of this month.
Yeah, so that's Tuesday and Wednesday. They'll have all these deals. So I always like seeing what's going on in those days. So if I see good stuff, I'm gonna share it all out those days. I'm sorry if that's annoying to you on the Twitters and the Facebooks and stuff, but if I see relevant good stuff, I'm gonna share it all out, and maybe we can do better than $8 next time, and I can't even afford a bottle of a Malort with that. You know what I mean? Like, that's not even half. That's 1/3 of a bottle of Malort. Like, what am I supposed to do?
It's not even 1/3 of a beer bat at Wrigley.
At Wrigley, yeah.
Probably a water bottle at Wrigley.
Yeah. Probably maybe a pretzel. Maybe. I think it's $8.50 plus tax. So I have good, bads, and uglies. Man, this is the worst question show that we've ever done because we've taken 3 questions.
Do you want to do a question before we do your good, bad, and
why
ugly?
don't we? Let's do a question we don't totally run out of time.
By the way, I didn't know this was a question show until I got on your.
Sorry, my computer is yelling at me. They're like, "No, I have no juice." Okay, one more question, and then I'm gonna have to sign off.
Okay, so we'll let you start with this one, IFG. Odds on number 2 Cubs writes in on Twitter, as the only team in MLB contention that was quote unquote gassed, Ross's words, the entire month of September. How are you going to prevent this from happening in 2024?
Okay, so you know how we were like, hey, let's play the kids. They're pretty good. They're doing good things. They're like hitting grand slams when they come up, things like that. And then Ross was like, no, we're going to play the guys that got us here over and over and over ad infinitum, whether they are performing well or not, whether or not Dansby Swanson is practically a zombie on the field and off. We're going to not do that. We're going to play, we're going to have a 26-man roster, and then we're going to use all 26 of those people.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. Actually.
Yeah. Well, and that's, I listened to Mike Waller's podcast, the Cubs PS Plus show, and he was talking about how just the reasons that the Cubs lost this year. And it was on his bitch clock too. And it's just that there's 26 men on the roster. Use them. There's no reason that Luis Torrens and stuff had to be sitting there forever. If you weren't going to use them, just don't have them on the team. And his hilarious thing from the bitch clock, he's like, just break with 12 guys. If that's what you're going to do, just have 12 people on the team and be done with it. And just play like you're the freaking Knickerbockers from, 1898. Just do that. Have some guy sitting in the front row with his sitting cross-legged, and another, I'm just describing those Knickerbocker pictures from, some guys holding the bats all black and white. You know what I'm saying? So I totally agree. How about this? Yeah, just rest your guys. Just rest your players. Be a little bit, have some intuition about it. How about another question?
Sure.
Can we? Yeah. Then we can. Yeah. So let's take another one from Blake, because he's sent in so many. How about this? Do they really trade for Pete Alonso or Juan Soto?
Probably not.
Just because you're might die at any second. Not you, but your computer.
Yeah, no, probably not.
Okay, but if you're going to trade for one of them, which one? You want Alonso or you want Soto? It's 1 year, right? And what positions they're playing, like what's adding into your thing here?
I think if my heart would rather have Juan Soto, but my head says the one thing that we have to trade is outfielders. And the one thing that we are going to need is a first baseman. So you go Pete Alonso. And we don't really I don't know if it happens, but But yeah, if you can trade, do you know how much I do not want Christopher Morel to be a Met?
Yeah, that would be,
Well,
yeah, it
they
would be bad.
they might give you Pete Alonso for Pete Crow Armstrong, a Pete for a Pete.
Pete for Pete. Those are the rules. I mean, but
But
it's
then
only,
who's our center fielder? Because we're not going to have Cody Bellinger.
we don't need to trade that much for those. I think you need to
Yeah.
give away something, but it depends on how much money is willing to be eaten. And we see what happened with the Mets is they're like, we will eat the money. We want prospects. So I think the Mets might want a lot of prospects. Whereas, I don't know, the Padres, they spent so much money, they might be playing it differently. We don't know what they're going to do. Maybe they're like, we just want to get rid of the money like we did when we got rid of Yu Darvish. We weren't like, we'll eat the money.
That Chad Hoyer is not going to be like, oh yeah, sure, I'll just pay all the bills and here's a Nick Madrigal.
God, that would be perfect.
I think it's more likely that we end up with a Pete Alonso. Who are we giving up for that? I don't know. I don't want to give up the boys in the minors.
Yeah, I do. I don't give a shit about those guys.
Yeah, I'll give them.
They keep coming up. They keep hitting grand slams, and they keep getting sent the fuck back. I'm done.
It's too frustrating to watch. Which one would you take? Alonso or a Big Baby?
I'm going Alonso. I think I go Alonso because he is a first baseman, and we need a first baseman. He hits 40 home runs, and
you need that.
He kills the Cubs too. Oh, there she goes. I think that might be the end of IFG's time.
IFG went into the circle of death.
The spinny circle of death and doom. Well, anyway, she did an awesome job, and I'm glad that we got to at least hear from her a little bit on things. Here, I'll remove her until she can come back in. So I will do my good, bad, and ugly, and I don't have a very good. My good's kind of boring in a way, but I kind of this shirt caught my eye a little bit, and I don't know what it was about the shirt. It's kind of like that retro 1970s sort of thing. So here, let me put this up here. What do you think of this shirt? And I'm sorry that IFG is not here to say it, but it's kind of a to see it. It's like a kind of a 3D Cubs muted rainbow, very early 80s colors. And it says Cubs on it. What do you think of this, Michael? Would you wear this? And they have it on navy. They've got it on different colors.
See, this is you're right. This is a very tough one. So immediately when I look at it, it makes me think of the Cuba Cubs logo, right?
Yeah.
If it wasn't italicized, right? Because that Cuba Cubs logo is like italicized this. But yeah, no, I don't think I would wear it. I think my wife would wear this. I think this is a nice shirt. I think my wife would actually really enjoy this shirt. So yeah, that's where I'm at on it. I like the shirt. I don't think it would work for me.
Rogue Wave Creative
look like Cheers.
Rogue Wave Creative, one of the proud sponsors of our show, says it looks like Cheers. Yeah, it kind of does. So that's my good. Here's my bad. Now, God, I don't know what's going on with this. Now, you might have to zoom in to see what's going on. This is a 1,000-piece puzzle. And I just don't know what. Let me just describe this to the podcast listeners, because I started looking at it and then I was like, wait, what's in this puzzle? and I just kept looking and I kept finding things. And I'm like, wait, what is within this 1,000-piece puzzle? I guess you could say the main character of it is Clark kind of sitting in what looks like a Cubs director's chair sort of thing, or like a tailgate chair.
Okay,
he is eating popcorn. Looks like a chicken sandwich or fries. He's got a cola. He's got, I don't know, what's that coming out of that bag in the front? Is that fries? Looks like worms. Looks like he's eating worms.
Fries, maybe churros. I don't know.
Churros, yeah. He's got that. He's kind of got his hand in the air. And then In front of him, like there's an entire cooler full of cokes that he's drinking. There's a catcher's mitt and a helmet. Then he's got more food cooking on a grill. So he's tailgating, and it looks like he's kind of tailgating. I can't tell where he is because there's an ice cream cart and there's an old timey truck and there's a weird milk gallon. You see the milk jug up in the upper right hand corner that says Cubs.
Oh yeah, it's like one of those metal. It's like when you say a milk jug, it's like the one that you use to gather the milk out of the cow.
The cow, yeah. So yeah, and that's not like a gallon that you get at Jewel. And then there's Cubs logos all over the place with bunting, and like there's like a balloon seller and a cotton candy guy and a dad with his son. Like this is the weirdest freaking. This is like if AI. I think AI must have come up with this.
Yeah.
Don't you think they're like?
But one thing it got right is that Clark's alone. No one wants to hang. He's got all this great food. He's got sodas. He's got everything, but nobody wants to be near him.
Nobody wants to hang out with him. So just the weirdest puzzle. So please, somebody buy this. I did drop the link to it in the chat. Somebody buy this and put this together, and I will send you a special prize.
So I have not done a puzzle since the first part of the pandemic, right? Like, remember that was a thing. I don't know if it was a thing for you, but like you could order a Amazon puzzle. You could order a puzzle. We had shit to do. We'd be sitting there. My kitchen table is covered in puzzle, and I will tell you, those fucking things are addictive. You will sit down and you'll place one goddamn piece, and you're like, oh, I gotta find the next one. I gotta find the next one. There should be warnings on those things. You could lose a job. You could go. I don't know. It's bad.
So we're gonna do the ugly, and I don't know what the hell is going on here, but this is a horror movie, a film by Jonas Govaerts called Cub, and it is like some demon possession horror movie situation. So I don't know if somebody should also needs to watch this. It's got 4 stars on Amazon Prime Video. I just dropped the link to it in the chat. Somebody watch Cub and let me know how it went. But it's absolutely horrifying.
It's $2.99 to rent. You can buy it from $9.99. Like, so you could buy it for $10.
Don't buy it because it's obviously a waste of money. But
it is frightening. It's like the guy's got like a green growth on his face.
Yeah. It does look scary. I don't know why it's called Cub, but that's what I want to know, because that didn't look like a cub to me. It looked like a werewolf boy. Maybe that's why it's Cub. So I did have an honorable mention. Okay, now do you remember this? Cracked us the hell up. Do you remember this baseball that was from a grandpa to his grandson? Do you remember laughing about that?
Yes.
Okay, so here's what the hilarious baseball. If you've been a long time listener to this show, you'll remember the one, this one, where it's a baseball with just the longest freaking message from a grandpa to his grandson on it in the world. It says, my grandson, I want you to believe deep in your heart that you're capable of achieving anything you put your mind to, that you will never lose, either win or learn. Oh, you either win or learn.
Never lose.
You will never lose. You either win or learn.
I think there's supposed to be a period after lose.
Yeah. Just go forth and aim for the skies. I can't promise to be here for the rest of your life, but I can promise to love you for the rest of mine. Love, Grandpa. So here's a kid, Grandpa telling a kid, his grandson, that he's going to die on a baseball.
and I can almost guarantee this baseball is worthless. If you hit this one time with the baseball bat, it will be it'll get deformed. Yeah, you won't be able to throw it anymore.
So apparently there's another one now, because I happened to see it today and I was like, well, what's this one? And it's totally different, and it's not as long as that other one, but I'm dropping a link in the chat. Buy it for your grandson. It says,
oh God, what?
Yeah, this one's it's more concise though. He says, "To my grandson, if they whisper to you that you can't withstand the storm, whisper back, I am the storm. Believe in yourself as much as I believe in you. I love you forever and always." I like what kind of grandpa gives this kind of advice to their grandson?
And let me just tell you,
I am the storm.
okay, if they tell you to beware of the thing that is bad, you tell them, I am the thing that is bad. So if you just change storm to bully, beware of the bully. I am the bully. Yeah, that's not a good. Do not teach your children this. This is not what you're supposed to be doing.
Also, don't teach your children through balls. That really works for all balls.
Catholic Church has been trying that for so long.
Yeah.
And they're just getting in more and more trouble.
Yeah. Don't buy your grandson's message balls.
Whatever you're going to teach your children, don't do it through balls.
Teach your children balls. Teach them their balls. So I do think you should teach your children through obvious shirts. How about this? The Ranter shirts are for sale. These are obviously beautiful. I think they're coming in the mail for people I've seen. So
shout out to Corey Furlong. Hung out with him this weekend. He got a couple of these shirts the other day. And I looked, Danny, they said that they wanted a better version of the Cubes fan.
Yeah.
The one that's on these shirts is awesome.
That's because I sent them a better version of the Cubes fan.
Oh. Okay. I was like, it looks great.
The crappy one looks great. I'm like, no, it's not the crappy one. It's a good one. So why don't we do we were gonna do another bitch clock. I don't think we should. I think we take one more question and then
but I wanted to chime in here. So IFG texted.
Oh, she did.
Because she was gone, and she said she felt an earthquake during the show about 20 minutes ago. It was wild. It was the first time for her. So she's in Seattle, and there was an earthquake during the show.
Wow, this is our first Sun Ranto earthquake. It only took 7 years or 11 years. 11 years.
I like how you just went straight to 7.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
No, I'm like, it really didn't. I was like, where did 7 come from? It's just wishful thinking that I would have quit 4 years ago, I guess.
Danny gets a time machine, and all he does is just go back and tell his former self to quit.
Like, just cut your losses, bro. Cut your losses, man. You're done.
Fucking, what are you thinking, man? Just stop.
So we will take another listener question here. I mean, we'll take a listener question and we'll do a bitch clock and then we'll call it.
Maybe we do a bitch clock on the Whistler list. The listener
what?
question.
Well, no, then I set the whole thing up again.
Oh, well.
Yeah. So
I don't care what you have to do.
Yeah, exactly. I just demand you serve me. So so I'm gonna put the bitch clock back up. We're gonna do a 60 this time. Round and round she goes.
Is this you or me?
Stops. You. How about you?
God damn it.
Oh, maybe it's
me. Or dogs.
Maybe it's me. Should it be me?
You.
Okay. I think that this one's all me. Okay. We're going shelter dogs. It's true. I don't like shelter dogs.
Have 30 seconds to bitch.
Wait, no, that's right. I was gonna do 60.
You have 60 seconds.
You do 60 on shelter dogs? This is gonna be impressive.
Here's the thing about shelter dogs. They shouldn't be in a shelter. They should be roaming free in the streets. When you take a guy like Barstool Big Cat, who's like, I help shelter dogs, you're keeping defenseless puppies in prison. You're taking these dogs. You ever been in a shelter? Okay, there's these tiny little cages, completely inhumane, and they're stacked on top of each other, one on top of the other. And these dogs, they're just sitting there in their own piss and their own shit and their own vomit, and they're just waiting. Some of them that are old, They're not even on the no-kill list. They're going to die, and they're just sitting there on death row waiting to die. And this is the kind of thing that Barstool Big Cat supports by giving his money to Paws. When in reality, he should be going in there with his team of Barstool guys, taking all the dogs, setting them free in the streets.
Stop your bitching.
Or at least in the cemeteries.
Well, that was an excellent take.
Yeah. Freaking prison. It's a prison. So
it is. They're just barking in there. It's a mess.
Yeah, it's awful. So adopt a dog today. Here's yours. Here we go. Round and round she goes. Where she stops, only the bitch clock knows. Oh, too much analytics.
Oh my God. Okay.
I feel like you could easily do an hour on this, I believe. I do believe that.
Clock, you have 60 seconds to bitch.
All right. Here's the thing. Everybody thinks that I fucking hate analytics. Well, I don't. What I hate is hearing about analytics. It's like when everybody loves fantasy football, but nobody wants to hear about your fantasy football game. It's a bunch of fucking, nobody's actually playing. It's numbers. Nobody gives a shit. And you're telling them about how you lost by 12 points because some fucking kicker didn't kick a field goal somewhere. Nobody cares. It's the same thing with advanced analytics. Shambi's up there and he's fucking telling us it's 100.8 miles per hour. Who gives a fuck? Nobody cares. Did they catch it? They caught it. It's an out. Go the fuck home. Nobody gives a shit. If it's a slow ball, I mean, I guess I'm more interested if you want to give me advanced analytics on the shit that shouldn't be happening. Like, when a 4 mile per hour ball goes for a triple.
Amen.
Stop your bitching.
That is a great point that I had never thought of, that I would rather hear of the outlier analytic when like a little blooper is like, that only had a 17% chance of being a double or something,
That's the only thing that's interesting, that you know this thing. But when they're like, when they fucking tell you, like, oh, well, the last 4 barrels came off of that bat at over 100 miles per hour, and they were all outs. It's like, well, that doesn't fucking do me any good at all. All it does is make me more angry that the guy who's hitting the ball isn't on base. I want to know the other thing when it's like, well, they should never have been able to pull that one off.
Yeah. So, I guess, oh no, we have one more question we're going to take. So let's take this from Blake Beard's second question here. And that's, looks like they'll have roughly $80 million to spend. That's before arbitration, by the way.
Right.
So what is, in the eyes of the Sun Ranto show, what is the biggest need? Where can we start?
I will tell you the biggest need is quit looking at $80 million as a fucking limit. That's the biggest need. This fucking team has all the money in the world. There is no reason ever for them to look at any number and say, well, we can't go past that. They have all the money. They can do it. Now, do I want a $600 million a year team? No, I don't need that. But I don't want these fake. So like there's, in life, just in general, for any of us, when we put limits upon ourselves, we can't do this shit. The best we're going to do is whatever that limit is we put for ourselves. And then you get there and then you're like, well, shit, maybe I should have gone farther. Right? Like, oh, well, I had to run a mile. I just ran a mile. That was fucking, maybe I should have run farther. I could have just. And then Alfie Campos is just starting pitching.
Yeah,
that's probably I just went on for way too long on some bullshit, and Alfie hit it on started pitching.
A lefty bat. little more pop in the middle lineup.
No, and that is absolutely true.
But it's true though. If it's 80 million, that is 3 really good players. Or it's most likely like I mean they
Six
pay
middling players.
6, yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's what you worry that they're going to do, and they're going to hold a little bit of money back so just in case they're good that they can get a little bit more. But I completely agree with you that they need to at some point blow through that tax, or that they call it their self-imposed spending limit. They need to, and it needs to be before they have a bunch of prospects hit. It needs to be before that. Like they need to take the chance and spend the money first so that the prospects can hit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like build yourself a really good team and then work those prospects in there with the good players. Don't put all the pressure on the prospects and then add around. That's what the Pirates do. Well, if you guys put it together enough, maybe we'll get you a closer. It's like, no, go in there with a solid team. Let these prospects develop with a solid team around them.
Well, but on the flip side of that, use your fucking prospects. Like the 80 million should be enough. Like they should be able to do this because you have young guys, but you have to let them play. If you're going to go out and spend $14 million on Trey Mancini, when you have 2 guys that could play as well as him, again, back to you can't evaluate your own guys. This is a problem, right? You have to be able to tell whether or not these guys are good enough. And if they're not good enough, get the fuck rid of them. And if they are good enough, let them play and give them time to play. Don't call up Canario and sit him on the end of the bench for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, you got to do the thing. It's like they keep telling us, well, we want to spend money intelligently, but the intelligent money is sitting in Iowa. And the unintelligent money just keeps getting put on this fucking Cubs bench in Chicago for way more money than they really should be spending when they could spend more and get better.
They have very least cut bait with those guys. They cut bait, so at the very least, it took them too long, but they did it eventually. So
they win this season with Jared Young and Matt Mervis on that bench instead of Mancini and Hosmer. Like that's it. They probably need some pitching too. Alfie, you're right. I think they need pitching, and I think they need to figure out a way to not only have enough pitching, but I don't know. They kept doing weird things with like moving Assad to the bullpen to the thing. Like they don't seem to have a great plan with pitching at the big league level, how they're going to use them day in and day out. Right. Like, does it feel like that to you?
None of it made sense to me how they worked any of it. They were shorthanded. They were exhausted at the end of the year. So by the end, I don't even think we even got to know who was even available and whose arm was about to freaking blow up on their side. It's like, I really don't know. It's hard to tell. A lot of the playing Miles Mastrobuoni seemed every single day at third base seemed weird to me, but that's what they did. And he was fine. Yeah, I just nothing we did worked at the end, so it's really hard to see. They were out of gas.
Well,
I
don't
even know what we were looking at.
It really fell apart in the pitching, and especially with the bullpen. And I mean, the bullpen was the easy part, right? We could see early on they were using Kuas, Merriweather, Leiter, Fulmer. They were using these guys too much. We could see it. Adbert Alzolay. They were just overusing these guys, and they were never giving these other guys a chance. Now,
but those guys might have been terrible.
Part of that reason is because every time they took them in there, they were terrible. They were bad.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I do get it.
Have enough.
But at some point, you have to tell the guy, you got to go out there and pitch. Like, you have to take innings right now. You have to do it. Or even if all they do is figure out the games that they're already losing and use them there. How many times, Danny, did we bitch about Adbert or Leiter or fucking Merriweather coming in to games that were out of hand?
Yeah, that they didn't need to pitch in. Yeah, Luis Medina mentioned that that they used a lot of bullets on Alzolay early with this dumb like multiple inning stuff earlier in the year, and then they're like, "Actually, you're a closer. We're going to make you a closer video about a month after you're the closer, and then you're going to get hurt as soon as we make a closer video for you." I mean, just nothing they did worked last year. Even when it worked for a little bit, it didn't work for long. So. Anyway,
Yeah.
I always wonder, why do you call him Kuwas?
Isn't that his name?
No, it's Quas. Yes,
Quas?
it's Quas. Yeah.
Quas.
I was like,
Quas.
because you always say that on Cubs Pod. I was like, I should tell him it's Quas, not Kuwas. But I thought that maybe you just thought it sounded cool. So that you're like,
I mean,
Kuwas, baby.
It's
like,
what it's one of those words. It's like it's and I guess I've never heard him say it.
yeah,
However he said it, I would then just say it however he said it.
Yeah, I want to hear him say it. Like,
but
"Hi, my
it's
name
weird
is-"
because if it was Quas, I'd be it's Quas.
Yeah,
Like easy. But because there's that C there, it makes me want to say Kuos. I want to like make sure that it's not the one sound. But this is the thing. It's like how many times do we see players who come from other countries and then they spell their name weird so that we all mispronounce it?
yeah. I would definitely do that just to screw with people.
But
Like,
you remember the guy in the Pirates, Kang, right?
yeah.
His name was Gung. I'm not sure. Maybe somebody who understands other languages better than me or something can explain why when you translate somebody's name from Korean and it's Gung, you spell it Kang. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, because it makes no sense.
Yeah, or the baseball, the president or the general manager or whatever down there in Marlins, right? Janet Wynn, is that her name? Something like that. But it's her last name is WN. And I've seen that a number of times, and it's a lot of different sort of sounds. And I don't know what's going on. So that's why I say Kuos weird.
What I'm sharing right now is Kang in Korean. So, but pronounced Gung. So why would you just take, a thing that looks like a 7, a line with the dick and sideways 0, and say that is gonna be Gung? It's like Al Pacino in Scent of a Woman. Kuwas.
That is it. That's it.
So, well, we'll have to solve these mysteries some other time. Like, for example, maybe next Wednesday, a week from Wednesday, we're moving the Sun Ranto show to Wednesdays because of football and the holidays, and just it's a good night for everybody. Hopefully, it's a good night for you to join us live instead of on Sundays. It'll be on Wednesdays, and we'll try to keep that our schedule. I will update.
Which means the podcast will be out on Thursdays.
Yes. And so anyway, we'll be around on Wednesday. Not this next Wednesday, because really there's nothing to talk about Cubs-wise. But
yeah, in 2 days, 3 days.
Yeah. So we're going to take a little bit, not a hiatus or anything, but we're going to be, in fact, I think we should do a Cubs pod or something like that. Put something out to the Patreon people. I almost did one the other day, but I got a phone call. I was walking around the Graceland Cemetery, and I was like, oh, I'll do a Cubs pod walking around. And then I got a call. But yeah, I'd like to do some more of those. And so join us on patreon.com/sunrant so you can listen to all of those. And of course, subscribe to the podcast at the Bleacher Bunch Network. We're on there with Sarah Sanchez, and good stuff. Happy birthday, Bill Sugas. It is his birthday today. 69 years old today.
Nice.
No, he's not. I don't know how old Bill is.
He's always 69.
Every year, Bill is 69 years old.
Because he's just always nice. That's the one thing everybody says. Bill is nice.
And I don't have a TFC. I was gonna just talk. I already talked about it, about what an idiot I am for like coming after Barstool with a bad joke.
I have to say, TFCs are tough right now. I went looking for them.
We don't have to do them every week. You know what I mean?
It's and I want something that's funny or whatever. Like I see, there's a lot of just stupidity out there right now. It's everybody listening to Jed Hoyer's fucking press conference and just eating it up. Just, oh, well, that sounds great, Jed. I can't wait. And everybody just playing this game. Even I did it a little bit on my last Cubs pod, was try to be positive about the end of the season. But I had a lot of negativity sort of creep in a little bit in mine. But yeah, people are just being way too positive about it right now, and there's nothing funny in it. Nobody's saying anything interesting or funny. It's just
no, there's nothing going on, so we don't have TFCs tonight. But I will give away a chance postcard. Here we go. I'm spinning it around, round and round she goes, and the winner is Maggie May. Congratulations. Maggie's won before and also has been the winner of the Patreon prize of the month. I've been the winner of the Amazon prize of the month, which we also gave away today. So once again, if you were the purchaser of that iPhone case, you are the winner tonight. That's it. We're going to be over on the Patreon or on the Patreon Discord. So join us over there after the show tonight, and we'll be back a week from Wednesday, and then every Wednesday for the rest of your life.
Oh, and by the way, the next Sunday show, we will have the Cubs grades.
Yeah, Cubs grades. Yeah,
on Sunday.
On Sunday, so look forward to that. But the next show is Wednesday. So we will see you then Wednesday. And I got nothing else to say except for thanks for watching tonight. Tell your friends that we'll be here every Wednesday and hang it out.
You know what? The season's over. We've gone through it. We've done it. And now, I mean, honestly, a lot of people are putting it away. They're going to stop thinking about the Cubs, all this stuff. Not us. We're going to be here all season long.
Making shit up.
We have plenty to say. All the shit that we edited throughout the season, it's all coming out. So be here and you'll get to hear it.
So, yeah, exactly. So I'm going to go out with a new song from the Bleacher Bum Band album, We Are the Cubs. We'll see you over on the Discord. Spagong.
Tune into 670 on my AM radio. The Cubs are gonna win today. We'll be singing Go Cubs Go. Let's hear it for Chicago, the world's greatest fans. We'll have a ball and catch it all on Clark and Addison singing Chicago fans, we are the Cubs. Whoa, 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 we are the Cubs. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We are the Cubs. We are the fans. Whoa, we are the Cubs. We are the fans. We are the Cubs. We are the Cubs. We are the fans. We are the Cubs. Oh, we are the Cubs. We are the fans. We are the Cubs. Oh, Chicago fans, we are the Cubs.
Thank you.